Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name's Sarah, and I'm with Federal Resources. Federal Resources is a solutions provider to our military, federal government, and state and local responders. We partner with companies like Avon to bring leading technology to our customers. Today, we're joined by Darren Wolfe from Avon. They are a provider of respiratory protection and ballistic protection, and he's going to demo the ST54 Tactical Respirator today. The ST54 allows users to respond and change the use of the system based on their environment. So Darren will go into a brief presentation about the ST54 and review it for you all. We'd ask that if you have any questions, please use the Ask a Question button at the bottom of your screen. You can type them on the right, but we'll be reading all questions at the end, and Darren will answer them live. And you can vote on which questions you'd like to have answered in that Ask a Question box. So please type them there and use that button. You also can click the Request a Quote button at the bottom of your screen if you'd like more information on the ST54, or always contact your Federal Resources account representative. So we'll go ahead and get started. Again, any questions, bring them our way, and we hope to interact with you at the end. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. Is your presentation taking a minute, Darren?
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
Good to go.
Good. Great. Well, thank you everyone for joining today. This presentation on ST54. Just a brief introduction. My name is Darren Wolfe. I'm the Global Product Manager for Supplied Air for Avon Protection. I've been with them for 5 years now, been in the space in general for a little over 18. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. I wanted to, just for those on the joining us today that may not be familiar with Avon Protection, I just wanted to take a few minutes to discuss our history and our pedigree as a global leader in the design of advanced CBR and respiratory protection. Briefly, we were founded over 135 years ago, started manufacturing gas masks since World War I. Several technological achievements and accolades along the way, but I'll just touch on a couple notable ones. The first is our Joint Service General Purpose Mask contract that we were awarded in 2009. We've supplied through that contract over 2 million of our M50 masks to the US DoD, and that's a program that was also adopted by other countries as well. In 2011, we launched our Tactical SCBA program with our ST53. 2013, the PC50 mask moved us into the corrections market. We introduced Avon Air, which is our powered air range, in 2017. And then the ST54, which we'll be talking about today, is our second generation Tactical SCBA. We launched that in 2018. And between ST53 and ST54 combined, right now we've got over 10,000 units fielded globally. And then in 2019, the DoD took its next step in its CBR and respiratory protection program, and awarded Avon the M53A1 framework contract, which is a 5 to 7 year contract that includes the M53A1 mask, the ST54, and PAPR systems as well. So ST54 is just one piece of a larger respiratory protection portfolio that includes, as you can see, filters, APRs, escape hoods, the powered air range that I briefly touched on, as well as underwater systems. Then with our acquisitions of Ceradyne and Team Wendy, we've expanded our product portfolio into helmets and armor with the goal of not only being a global leader in CBR and respiratory protection, but also in life-critical personal protection on a broader scale. So why develop a tactical SCBA? Historically, tactical operators have relied on firefighting SCBA. And those firefighting SCBA are not suited to their mission profile. So not stealth in nature, heavier, over designed. They're designed more for longer term operations in hot environments, and so they have to be designed to meet those requirements. And because of that, they tend to be a little more on the expensive side, because they have to have that more robust requirement for firefighting, structural firefighting. So in order to kind of solve a problem that our customer base was coming to us with, we really have to look at what does it mean to be, what does tactical mean? What are tactical operations all about? So it really comes down to stealth in appearance. You want the obviously stealth and sound as well, the ability to silence alarms, integration with tactical PPE. So vests, helmets, shields, gloves, making sure you have the the ability to operate things with a gloved hand. Front of body movements without any obstructions, in your field of view. And also it's very important, they need a solution that's scalable and modular and can adjust to, changing mission profiles, changing operational environments, kind of as they're happening. So really at the end of the day, what that all leads to is, operators, they want increased survivability. It's not only for operators, but also the civilians, and reduced liability for government. So we launched ST53 in 2011, and that was our, really our first response to the tactical market's need for a more fit-for-purpose solution. And then as requirements and technology changed, we listened and we developed ST54. So they do share some things in common. They're both NIOSH approved with our FM53 and FM54 respirators. They're both stealth in design, lower profile, black footprint. They both have the ability to adapt to changing operational requirements, and we'll get into that in a little more detail as we talk about ST54 and how it's modular and scalable. They both utilize the world's smallest compact demand valve, or CDV. There are some slight improvements, though, when it comes to the ST54 variant, in that we made it more robust than that of the one that was on ST53. And now we start getting into some of the bigger differences and feature enhancements. So ST54 is going to utilize a much more robust two-piece clamshell back frame design versus the one piece that was on ST53. It's going to be definitely more comfortable. The padding, the wider 3-inch wide shoulder straps, contoured shoulder straps, the back frame is contoured, much nicer ergonomics and much more comfortable. It's got an enhanced cylinder retention system. So ST53 utilized a more of a two-prong, what we call a fork system that the cylinder sat in. ST54 utilizes a much more robust, more secure, what we call a spoon, and we'll get into some of these, some details on these features here in a few minutes. ST54 is mil spec, so it's been independent. It's been tested, fielded, and proven by U.S. Special Operations Command. And it's also been, it offers a future-proof design for electronics and other feature enhancements. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in terms of the clamshell and kind of how that sets us up for the future. But at the end of the day, it's our latest generation of tactical SCBA. So let's talk about some of the key features of ST54. So we'll start with the respirator. So it is approved with both the FM53 and FM54 respirator. Key thing here is you're talking one mask for multiple missions. So when it streamlines your equipment needs, it lowers your new equipment, your training and your maintenance costs. It's modular. It's got what we call a VREU, variable resistance exhalation unit, that makes it capable of operating in both positive and negative pressure. So it can be utilized as APR, PAPR, SCBA combination unit, and rebreather operations. It's got what we call an excellent cheek to stock weld for weapons sighting. So a lot of people refer to it as a shooter's mask. It's also available with some optional outserts that provide enhanced, lens and eye protection. We've got, just to name a few: clear, sunlight, blue blocker, mirrored, and laser, I believe. And just in general, it's a very, very comfortable mask to be in for a long term if needed. With the FM54, we also offer an optional voice projection unit. A slight difference from FM53 to FM54, the voice projection unit is optional, so FM54 is NIOSH approved with and without a VPU, but the VPU really does a nice job of projecting loud and clear communications while you're on target or in the midst of your mission. Compact demand valve. So again, it's smallest on the market. It's got a low profile design, so it's not going to hinder field of view or interfere with weapon sighting. It can be placed on the left or right side of the mask. You can see in this picture, it's on the left side, and the right side has a filter mount plug. Now, the filter mount plug, we have a tool that can easily be removed and reinstalled on the opposite side. Another thing that a lot of operators do is they will utilize the system as a both APR and SCBA, and they can do that by installing a filter on the side opposite of the CDV. The CDV works on what we call first breath activation, so it's like an instant on, provides constant positive pressure. There's a little first breath button there that activates the flow of air once you just inhale, take a deep breath. If you want to stop the flow of air at the CDV, you just press that button. And in terms of utilizing both APR and SCBA, that's done pretty seamlessly just by changing the VREU setting from positive to negative pressure. So really all you would do is you would press that CDV first breath button, switch over to negative pressure, and you'd be breathing off of your negative pressure APR through the filter. If you want to switch back to positive pressure SCBA, you change your VREU mode selector to positive pressure, put your hand over the filter, cover it, take a deep breath, and you're back on positive pressure SCBA. So again, you've got that flexibility, that versatility to react, based on, changing operational conditions, mission profiles. And then that feature also allows you to conserve your cylinder air and use it only when you need to, when the mission or the environments dictate that. And then it utilizes a standard 40 millimeter thread connection to attach to the mask. And again, you can do that on either side. The back frame and harness is probably the area that changed the most from ST53 to ST54. Again, much more comfortable design, much more ergonomically friendly. It's got contoured shoulder straps, contoured back frame. It's got adjustable harness assembly with quick release metal Cobra buckles that are easy to operate, and it's designed so that if you need to jettison drop the unit, you can do that quickly. And then it's got some other added features in terms of built-in twin carry handles, 1,000-pound rated, and then it's got a single drag handle for RID operations, at the top that you can see right there. It's built into it. Stealth nature. So, designed by operators for operators. So it's going to be fit for purpose in terms of aesthetics. So it's going to be black, low profile. You're going to have the ability to deactivate alarms if and when needed. It has stealth gauge options, and then we offer a cylinder bag option for the cylinders, and it not only protects the cylinders, but it also has a kind of a noise dampening effect. When you're on target and you should bump into anything, it minimizes the amount of noise that's made versus a metal on metal type of situation without the bag. Gauge and whistle. It's got an integrated gauge and whistle assembly. You can see the remote gauge coming off of the right shoulder strap right there. We offer it in 3 different variations. We've got a stealth 4500 psi gauge, we've got a stealth 5500 psi gauge, and then we've got a dual psi luminescent gauge. So three remote gauge options there as well. And then in terms of cylinder options, we've got we offer 4500 psi and 30, 45, and 60-minute durations, and a longer duration 5500 psi 70-minute cylinder. The 30, 45, and 60-minute 4500 psi options are available in a natural carbon or a black stealth finish. The 70 minutes only available in a black stealth finish. In terms of connection options, we have your standard CGA 347 connection, and we also offer a quick disconnect option that we're in production on now. It's not approved at this moment, but that will be coming. And then again, I mentioned the cylinder bags. We offer those in a variety of different configurations: FR, non-FR, standard, and then what we call premium. Biggest difference between standard and premium is really the addition of these large Velcro panels on the side, which are there. They kind of set us up to scale up our capabilities, which we'll talk about, and add some powered air and hydration systems and so forth. And then we also offer what we call a remote lightning fill option. You can see it coming off the right waist strap there, and a universal RIC option. So really, these are the same fittings. It's just a matter of location and ease of use. So the universal RIC is going to be off of the cylinder handwheel assembly, and it's going to require a buddy assist to charge or fill your cylinder. Whereas the remote lightning fill option, it's much easier access for the operator, and the operator can walk up to another cylinder or a filling station and easily do that themselves. So ST54 was also designed with the ability to scale up to a combination system by adding our CS PAPR module. And you can see it pictured here, kind of the progression. So CS PAPR is going to include your blower, your battery, your filters, your plenum, your carrier, and what we call your combination hose right there. Again, it's very modular, scalable in design. It's the combination hose. It sort of bridges the ST54 with the CS PAPR and allows that seamless transition without interrupting your protection levels. To go from APR to PAPR to SCBA, up and down as needed. As operational requirements and conditions change. And then we also have as part of this an automatic filter cover option as well. That's going to basically allow you to, when you go into SCBA, when you're in SCBA mode, positive pressure mode, SCBA, those will automatically shut and really kind of conserve your filters so that they're not as saturated, or you're not breathing in any of those types of contaminants once you switch back to negative pressure. So that is an option with the CS-PAPR and the CUR in general. So, you know, at the end of the day, ST54, you know, is basically at the heart of a more comprehensive, modular, scalable solution. You know, it allows you to you know, the solution allows you to do a standalone negative pressure APR, positive pressure SCBA with the APR, as we discussed earlier, or as a combination system, APR, PAPR, and SCBA all in one. So that scalability, that flexibility, you know, provides that maximum operational flexibility, you know, so that you can tailor your response, and then even while you're in the midst of your response, it'll allow you to adapt quickly to changing conditions, you know, even during an operation. So that, you know, that scalability, that modular capability, you know, is a large reason why, you know, it's in service with power users such as, you know, U.S. Special Operations Command, FBI, you know, major police departments, you know, like Houston, Boston, LA County, etc. So, and again, you know, a big part of that is the fact that it's designed by operators for operators. You know, it's not taking a product design for another purpose and modifying it. You know, it's based on what tactical operators require and need for their mission set. So, you know, ST54 is also, it's ideal for a multitude of users and mission profiles, you know, military, law enforcement, first responders, for everything from special operations, counter narcotics, you know, subterranean type operations, explosive ordnance disposal, hazmat investigations, site remediation, etc. In terms of approvals, you know, currently we have a NIOSH industrial approval with 3 respirators, the M53A1, the FM53, and the FM54. There is no current standard that governs the combination unit respirators. But as I'll touch on here in a minute, there is one that's going to be the first standard of its kind in what's called NFPA 1987 that will address you know, requirements for combination unit respirators. And then again, we've got the you know, the testing that was done by US SOCOM, the CBRN testing, and that was specific to the CUR system. So that's ST54 with CS-PAPR and M53A1 mask or respirator. So, you know, once we launch the product, you know, the innovation and the continuous improvement, you know, doesn't stop there. You know, we pride ourselves in listening to the voice of the customer and always looking for ways to improve performance as new technologies emerged or, you know, customer needs change. So it's not, you know, the process is not just as simple as, hey, you know, we want to make this modification because that's what, you know, the customer needs. You know, there's an approval process that has to happen, and thus an EOA or extensions of approval gets submitted to add those feature enhancements or, you know, continuous improvements. So depending on the degree of change in either fit, form, or function, that will determine, you know, whether it's a long approval time frame or a shorter approval. So it could be anywhere from a 3 to 9 month approval process. So each time, you know, we want to make a change, you know, that 3 to 9 month time period could be in play depending on the degree of that change. So this just highlights, you know, some of the changes that we've made to ST54 since we launched it. Most notably, adding that luminescent gauge option, that dual 4500, 5500 luminescent gauge option. Adding the cylinder bags to our approval matrix so that operators, customers can configure ST54 with a cylinder bag and get a NIOSH approved unit. The angled spoon, so you can see that's pictured top right. Based on user feedback, this was one of our product enhancements that we made since launch that's probably most notable in appearance, because previously the spoon went straight across. It was not angled. So depending on the size of the cylinder, it made for a little less user-friendly connection setup when you had this RIC connection coming off the hand wheel. So to solve that problem, we designed this angled spoon, which provides plenty of clearance and accommodates all the cylinders in our offering, with cylinder bags, included, because they'll add to the footprint a little bit. And then, originally the FM54 was NIOSH approved at launch. Since then, we've added the FM53 and M53A1 face pieces. And then the most recent one is we saw a need for a shorter harness for smaller PPE footprints. So if your mission doesn't require a vest or heavy ballistic protection, so if you're a smaller operator, depending on the operator, could be smaller in stature, more petite in size, plus the fact that you don't have the requirement for the vest, that called for a shorter harness. So we quickly developed that and got it approved as well as an alternative option on ST54. So at the end of the day, the takeaway is, ST54 has continued to evolve, since we, originally launched it back in 2018. So that brings us to kind of the next step in tactical SCBAs, and that's the NFPA 1986 standard. So it's a more fit for purpose standard, for tactical and technical operations. And we believe it's going to drive the next generation of tactical breathing apparatus. Just some highlights. It's specific to open circuit SCBA and combination SCBA supplied air respirators. In the various IDLH environments that you see there. It's also specific to non-firefighting type operations. So the biggest difference between your NFPA 1981, 1982 structural firefighting standard and 1986 is, obviously one is specific to structural firefighting and higher heat types of environments for longer periods. One is not. One is more geared towards offering you heat and flame protection, but for a shorter period of time, and more for if you're, for instance, you're on target at a meth lab, and obviously lots of explosives in that environment, and something explodes, you have a flashover, the equipment designed to the standard will be able to survive that and allow you to get out of that situation. So really, 1986 is less stringent in test requirements versus 1981, 92, especially in terms of heat and flame and what we call EOSTI, or end of service time indicators. So 1986 again, we believe it's going to drive the next generation of tactical breathing apparatus, and it also represents the next step in our own tactical SCBA program. So the feature enhancements and the continuous improvement efforts that I discussed on the last slide, they not only improve the product in the immediate, but they kind of also are done with future proofing in mind, and have moved us closer to meeting this standard. So after three to 4 years now, there are still no approved units on the market due to technical challenges that are shared across the industry. And I will say, I'm not able to get into specifics today in terms of timelines and kind of some new whiz-bang features, but I can share with everyone that we are in development on a next generation tactical SCBA that will meet this standard, with sights also set on the 1987 combination unit respirator standard that I mentioned as well, which will be the first standard specific to combination unit respirators like ST54 with CS PAPR. So with that, I will open it up to questions.
Thanks, Darren. Appreciate it and appreciate the overview. We have a couple of questions. Just a reminder, if there's any additional questions, please enter them in the Ask a Question box at the bottom as we go through. The first question is whether Avon is working on developing a smaller, higher pressure cylinder.
We are. I can't, just for proprietary reasons, I can't get into too much of the details on that, but we are working on those, and we've got DOT approval on smaller, higher pressure cylinders as we speak, as part of another program as well.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, what maintenance is required on the ST54?
So great question. No periodic overhaul is needed. Really, it's primarily your annual flow testing and your hydrostatic testing on the cylinders every 5 years. So nothing super intense at all.
Okay, great. And then I think just another question about the 1986 standard, which I think you said that you're unable to elaborate more on today, and when it would be approved.
Yeah, right now, what I can share is, again, that we will definitely have a unit that meets that standard, and it will be truly fit for purpose with a tactical mask.
Those are all. Thank you, Darren. Those are all the questions that we had. Any last minute ones you can go ahead and put in the box. One more. What training and support is available for the ST54?
So we're actually in the process of launching our new learning management system, or LMS system, and that'll include our full portfolio of products over a phased approach, and it'll range from everything from operator training to service level training. So it's something we're really excited about, and you'll be seeing it in the very near future.
And then just as a note, from Federal Resources perspective, we have our own training capability as well, not just related to the ST54. So if there's other equipment or questions you have about fielding and understanding equipment, we work with our customers to develop custom training courses and have a full catalog of training courses if you'd like to visit our website too for additional training. I think that is all. Again, if you'd like to request more information or request a quote on the ST54, you can go ahead and click that request a quote button. This recording will be saved on the Crowdcast page, and we'll share it on our social channels if you'd like to refer back to it. We certainly appreciate Darren and Avon's time, and we appreciate everyone attending today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks all.